Good morning. Here we are live on January 14th. It's been pretty cold here in Montana, so I'm bundled up in this warm jacket, and it might get all the way up to 2 degrees today. So that's so much different than what it has been, right? And over the last week, especially here in the Pacific Northwest, we've had dramatically cold weather and consistent low M class solar flares. So the flares are continuing. And if you've noticed, um, there's a lot of questions now from a lot more people about what are the solar flare symptoms and what can we do about that. So when we're experiencing symptoms, what I want to talk about today is that there's specific reasons why those symptoms are here and what they're doing for us. And we know that the symptoms are going to hit us and we're going to have reactions. We're going to have reactions in our bodies physically, we're going to have reactions emotionally, we're going to have reactions in our thoughts, in our worries, in our fears, in our mental constructs. And we're going to have reaction in that spiritual, which is like, what's really going on? How am I going to deal with all of these things, right? So these solar flares are sun-based, right? And when they come in, imagine other things that we do that have the same effect on us, whether it is the infrared sauna beds, whether it is the crystal light beds or the amethyst beds, or when we go to Reiki. These are all energetic systems that are designed to help us, to help our cellular structure, to help us alleviate our pain, to shift the way that our energy system, our human energy system acts. And it's a good thing. And we actually pay money for people to go do these things. And now we have it free coming in from the sun. So it seems to me like these solar flares are doing something to us, and it's up to us to figure out how to align with them, right? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to change things up a little bit. I'm going to spend less time maybe doing the story part and more talking about the actual tips. So think about the free energy that the sun is giving us, right? We get these energy boosts. Wow, phew, something happened. Our energy was drained. We felt like we were just hit by a truck. We feel really exhausted or tired, but something just came and changed our system, right? It gives us new opportunities. It does a deep cleaning into our cellular structure. It gives us a leg up on life. So when these come, they're not a bad thing. What they are is a growth opportunity that affects our system because of the way we live, because of our lifestyle. So it's taking some of the old energy, um, and it's getting it out of our body. I have notes over here just because if I don't work on those notes, then I can wander, and you don't want me to wander on here. So these old energy stamps on our body or perceived systems are about the way that we have been conditioned, the way we've been controlled, the way we even are held as a human population in enslavement. We get into these ruts where we do what we like to do because it's comfortable. That might be the food that we eat, the junk food that we go to, the sugars, the alcohol, the drugs, might be the activities we do, which is sedentary. I like to, especially in the winter, watch an entire um, Netflix series and just kind of move from one to the other. And it's sedentary, right? We have our addictions that come up. We have screen time where we feel more isolated. At least for me, in this last 3 days, when it was moving from -10 to -20 to -32 back up again, I'm here by myself, like looking at my screens, doing the same thing and wondering, how come I'm doing this? Because there isn't anything else to do. And it's what I've learned to do. So now it's time to sort of take a deeper look at that, right? So I have a story for you. When I first came to Montana, I came because a dear friend of mine was struggling with the next form of cancer that he had in his body. He'd had it several times before. He had been through the medical system just recently and had a stem cell transplant. So what was happening was I got to pick up and kind of come in at that time and watch these cells, these new cells just sort of take over this body and start to make it really happy and healthy. And when he got the all clear go ahead from the doctor that, like your body is so healthy, your cells are so alive, they are working so well. It's your job to maintain them and to keep them moving. And I remember this friend of mine asking the doctor, "Well, what is it that I need to do then to keep these cells alive?" And the doctor said, "Change everything. Everything that you used to do that took these cells and exhausted them and ran them down, you have to change everything." And what I noticed is that my friend understood that on like a hopeful level, but the actual action of being able to do that was impossible for him. He moved back into his house. He had the same relationship with his children and his family. He went back to work. He could hardly wait to get back to work. He could hardly wait to get back to exercising. And over the next 18 months, his body and his cells started to go wah, 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 and sort of just went back to cancerous dying. And he didn't live 2 years after the stem cell transplant. And I always remember that change everything was such a huge assignment. And then I'm looking at these solar flares now and I'm thinking, man, perhaps it's time to change everything, right? Because we're getting DNA and cellular gifts and they're coming into our bodies and we can step in and go like, I'm here, I can do this. It's going to be really hard, but I want to change my system to match this new energy coming in. Makes sense, right? So, what I'm going to do here is just go through all of the things that have come up, all the suggestions, all the tips, all of the ideas that we can do to change everything. And before I go there, this is what I've been doing. I've been cultivating sensitivity and empathic and energetic skills and working on the observer and paying attention to my body, paying attention to how other systems work with my system, and then coaching adult child relationships, adult to adult relationships, adult relationship to self. And so, if this is something I can help you with, by all means, drop me a message and I would love to coach you. I would love to mentor you. I'd love to guide you. So, just let me know if I can be of assistance. Okay. Okay. So, the list. The first thing that I would say is that we need to double or triple our intake of water. We need to hydrate. Now, I'm not a water drinker by nature. I would rather drink a hot cup of tea, which is going against what I'm trying to do, right? We have to hydrate. And we have to get more water in our system so that our cells have more nutrients, more fluidity to work with. So, number one is just to absolutely hydrate more, 2 to 3 times more than you think you're doing. Get it going. Number two, minerals. There needs to be minerals in our water. So I've been using trace minerals. I recently heard about Irish sea salt. I've been told to put Celtic sea salt, or not, excuse me, Irish sea moss. Is what holds all the nutrients that our body needs during the cellular transfer. I've recently heard that sea salt or Celtic sea salt is also really, really powerful. I've been putting that in my water to keep up the nutrients and the minerals with leafy greens and to get my nutrients from food and water. Now, I can get all the nutrients I want, and I'm really, really good at doing that. But the bigger problem that I've been having over the last 10 years is absorption. Okay, so that's number three is take a look at your absorption because if your body isn't absorbing the nutrients that you're giving it through water, through minerals, through actual vitamins and sustenance. Okay. Then what's going to happen is that you're doing a really good job on the intake, but your body isn't using it. And what I've learned is that has a lot to do with gut health. It has a lot to do with whether the villi in your intestines are able to grab and pull in the nutrients that you need. It's all about diet. It's all about healthy food choices and removing things that destroy that gut health. So, assuming our body's not absorbing, what I've been hearing over and over again from doctors on the forefront is that they're finding bodies are extremely dehydrated, more dehydrated than they've noticed. And I'm thinking that makes sense because I'm drinking a lot more water than I usually do, and nothing has been working as efficiently until I look at the diet. Number four, food allergies. The whole gluten free, the whole non dairy, this and that, we can mock people for that. We can do whatever we have, have said when we feel uncomfortable. But there are certain foods that if they've been sprayed, if they have glyphosate in them, if they're conventionally grown with pesticides and things that are not healthy for our body, they're going to create allergies that kill our gut. And I'm going to say by design. It has been effective for us not to have a healthy absorption system. And so, what it does is it affects our digestion, it affects our bowels, it affects our inflammation into the joints, into everything. So, look into food allergies or just start looking at how to get really clean food into your system. Number 5, stretches. It's so important, whether you do yoga or you just do morning stretches, is to move the fascia, right? Elongate the muscles, get your body to flow. Because when your body's moving and flowing, the cells have a lot more. It's almost like when you stretch out a arm or a shoulder that's been tight, every part of your body just goes, oh, thank you. Because what we're doing is we're giving it more space, right? Um, the other thing is to do some really gentle things like walk. Walk everywhere. Walk outside. Get in nature. Let nature recalibrate you because it's so good at doing that, right? So exercise. Move your system. Stretch it. Go as slow as you need to, even if you're sore, but start moving everything. The biggest one that I've discovered is to drain, number 6, drain your lymph nodes. So whether it's just tapping, right? There's so many videos, or rubbing the clavicle, or, like pumping on your hand. There's all sorts of different key spots where the lymph nodes can be moved around, right? And starting to shift, and then jumping and moving them, right? But there's videos and reels, and there's so much information about how to drain your lymph nodes yourself. You can have somebody do that. It's really nice to have a massage where they go specifically after your lymph and just get this out of your body. If you can afford that, if that's something that you like, by all means, get yourself lined up for that. If not, you can do it yourself, right? Number 7, get more rest, sleep. What we need is to create restorative periods in our day. Times when we're just stop efforting, stop producing, stop stressing, and give our body time to rest and relax. Now, anyone who's been a nursing mom knows that it's really, really hard to get your baby to latch on and to work with their daily intake of food when you're stressed. So the more you can relax, the more the baby can receive the nutrients they need. Let's look at our body the same way, right? So we need naps, we need silence, we need to calm down our nervous system and give ourselves our nervous system some space as well, so that there isn't a reaction, anticipation in our cellular system, right? Next one, number 8, is to evaluate your pace. Now, we've talked about resting, right? We just did that, but this is different. This is thinking about maybe like what happens when you have an injury or a surgery, or you have a difficult pregnancy, or something that where someone says, "Hey, for this much time, these many weeks, these many days, this many months, you need to rest. You need to take it slow." Kind of like my friend who was told change everything. What he couldn't do is he couldn't stop exercising. He couldn't stop moving. And that was a main source of stress for him, right? So when we change our pace, when we slow it down so that we can absorb, we can give our body space, we can heal, then what we're doing is we're working with these flares rather than against them. So there's nothing worse than when a flare comes in and we get this new boost of energy and we are like, oh my God, what's going on? And we're afraid and we go into nervous reaction, and then we fill it with busyness, and we do the absolute antithesis, or not antithesis, that's not the word. We do the absolute opposite of what our body is asking us to do, right? So this is what I've got today. What I'm going to say is that there are more. Put some suggestions. I'm looking for the ones that keep repeating, and that when I do them, they actually make my system feel a lot better. And then I just give information to guide you, right? And the last piece that I'm always closing with is have compassion, right? For yourself and for others. Because since these boosts of energy are coming in from the sun, what it means is that we're all getting them, right? And some of us, they're random, they're intent, and some of us are inviting them and going like, "Yes, bring it on." And others are like, "Oh no, this is horrible." Some people are overwhelmed, some people are in deep pain, and some people will even say, "Tapping out, not going to do this. I'm not living this life anymore." So just have compassion that we're all going to address these solar flares differently. And if there's any way that I can support you with this, just let me know. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Take care.